Well, as promised in my video of 20 Thanksgiving fragrances under $50, I told you guys I would also be sharing my little bit more high-end, a little bit more expensive, niche, indie designer fragrances that give me that Thanksgiving vibe. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's talk about more Thanksgiving fragrances. Hello, my gorgeous ones. Welcome to Alicia Budget Beauty. My name is Alicia. Here on my channel, I love fragrance. I love all kinds of fragrance, niche, indie, Middle Eastern, affordable, high-end, but we always look for the best, most affordable deals. And I also share some makeup shorts and also a little bit of fashion. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe, stick around, be a friend. Okay, you guys, so like the intro said, if you did miss that video of the 20 under $50 for Thanksgiving, I mentioned that I would be doing another set of 20, but these are a little bit more expensive. Some of them are just a little over 50, not too bad. And then some do get up just a little bit higher, but I had so many that I wanted to share. I thought it would be best to break them into two different videos. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, I want to start with this one first because this is about to be on crazy sale. Those of you that have already purchased it may be like, no, but if you've been holding out, now's the time. So this is Proud Mary by Macedon Perfumes, also C Chronicles, who is here on YouTube, also on Instagram, started her own fragrance line inspired by her mother and her mother's love of fragrance when she was growing up. This is her very first fragrance, and it is an absolute mind-blowing stunner of a debut. Anyone who has purchased this fragrance upon my recommendation has let me know that they were like blown away, that it's phenomenal. It's such a gorgeous fragrance. You guys, starting on the 28th, I believe, through that Black Friday time. So I think the 28th through the 1st or the 2nd. This is going 40% off. And then if you use my code BUDGETBEAUTY, it's an extra 15% off. This is going to be 55% off. So again, if you purchased it full price, I had no idea that was going to be happening. And that's incredible. And it is worth every penny of the original price, truly. But if you want it on sale, that will be the time. And again, it's those 3 days after Thanksgiving, and use my code for the 55% off. But this is such a beautiful, elegant, cozy, soft, inviting fall fragrance. It has pineapple and dried fruits and apple. And it has this beautiful kind of woodiness to it that's very delicate and very feminine. And it's so smooth and it's so kind of light. It kind of makes me think of like holding a basket of your freshly picked apples with beautiful orange red leaves get caught up in the wind and are swirling around you, and there's like a crispness in the air, but the sunshine is kind of like warming your back as you like just twirl around in complete bliss, in fall bliss. Like that is what I picture when I wear this fragrance. I think it is so phenomenal. It's an X-straight too. It lasts a long time. And I just think it's a perfect Thanksgiving fragrance. One of those that people hug you and they're going to want to know what you're wearing. So just want to shout this out first in case you guys want to pick it up on major sale. This one is kind of maybe slightly of a stretch thinking of Thanksgiving, but something about it, I thought it belongs here. This is Nearly Noon by Define Me. This is in collaboration with Sniff with Steph. She is so cute, you guys. She has such a bubbly, fun personality. She's real confident, have this gorgeous curly hair, and I was dying to try this fragrance. I finally got my hands on it, and I absolutely love it. Now, this is a fig, rice, coconut even fragrance, a little bit of whipped cream in it. So it doesn't really scream Thanksgiving right off the bat, but I find this to be so comforting, so cozy. If you are serving some sort of rice dish, you know, let's say it's boiling on the stove, maybe you're gonna make the casserole with like the rice and the mushrooms and whatever else you put in there. I could imagine a world where this would be kind of perfuming the air, and you would just kind of want to wrap up in your blanket when you're waiting for the Thanksgiving meal to be served, or maybe it's right after Thanksgiving and you want to have something on that you're just going to sit on the couch, you're going to watch some football. Maybe that's when you throw on the Christmas movie on Thanksgiving Day. You just want that cozy kind of like at home feel. That's what this fragrance gives to me. I think it's so gorgeous. It is unlike anything else in my collection as well. It's probably my second favorite rice fragrance. Today by Arsham Persia is my favorite, but I think this follows right behind it at number 2. So Nearly Noon, just imagine snuggling up with this on Thanksgiving at nearly noon. All right, next up we have Nobel 1942 La Danza del Bleu. Not sure if I say that correctly. It's French, okay? It is French. I love this bottle, you guys. I love their bottles. I think that they're so pretty and classy. And this is an apple fragrance. There's a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of cacao, some vanilla musk, and some cedar in the base. So for me, this smells very much like apple picking. It smells like almost like a caramel apple sucker. And I think of apples a lot of times when I think of Thanksgiving because of either like fruit salad. We always have fruit salad at our Thanksgivings. There's always some sort of apple there. A lot of times there's like an apple spice cake or even an apple pie. So while this isn't necessarily like apple pie on the nose or even cake-like, it kind of has this sweetness, like some type of apple dessert, almost like an apple turnover sort of a smell to it. And I think it belongs on the Thanksgiving table. All right, next up we have Maison Chanceuse Midnight Cherry. Now this is one that I don't love the first couple of minutes of this opening of this fragrance, but after it dries down, it's such a love for me. And I remember when I was sampling it, I thought, I don't know if I want a full size of this. When I sprayed it, about 10 minutes later, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna need this. So it opens with this almost kind of little bit of an herbal touch at the beginning, and none of the notes really say that it would smell like that, but it's just what my nose picks up. But as it sits on this skin, this richens up so beautifully. It is black cherry, some plum, you have some rum. You also have a little bit of rose and jasmine that's kind of tamed down in here. You have some cloves, and it just kind of gives me this kind of dark mystery. I think it's very elegant. To me, this is giving nighttime dinner Thanksgiving, the kind of dress up sort of Thanksgiving meal. I can picture the dimly lit dining room. Maybe you have candlelight, everyone's dressed up really nice. This would be a perfect fragrance in that type of atmosphere. I don't drink wine anymore, but I kind of think of like a nice, robust, deep red blend in a glass, wearing a really gorgeous dress on your Thanksgiving and wearing this would be perfect. It's also fairly unisex, so I could see a man enjoying this too. I do think it would be a nice, classy, elegant choice. Okay, next up is Sweet Peach Cobbler by Nazar. I have not picked out my Thanksgiving fragrance yet, but this is a contender for sure. This is one of my favorite peach fragrances. I think it is so delicious. It does smell like a peach cobbler for sure, like the name would denote, but it also has this toffee and this like milkiness to it, that cinnamon. There's probably like some tonka in here as well. And it still smells to me like a perfume, but it is very gourmand leaning. And it's just kind of savory and cozy and sweet. I really think of Thanksgiving. I don't always think of peach when I think of Thanksgiving desserts, but something about the kind of like toasty quality of this is giving me fall time, and I think it would be a perfect Thanksgiving fragrance. All right, my next choice is Marc Jacobs Perfect Absolute. So I had every intention on getting the big bottle of this because Marc Jacobs is so smart about how each size bottle up gets prettier. Like the cap is much more ornate and beautiful. And then I finally talked myself out of the 100 ml. I'm like, girl, you got so many perfumes. You can do the smaller one. So this is new. I got this in with the Sephora sale. I've been wanting a full size ever since I tried the travel of this. This is such a yummy, fun fig fragrance. It's so jammy and juicy. And it is supposed to be a fig caramel, I think jasmine amber fragrance. It's very kind of linear for me, but in a way that I really, really enjoy. I don't get a ton of that caramel. It just smells like the juiciest, jammiest fig. Not a green fig, not like a stemmy fig, not a milky fig. Fig can really go in so many different directions, and I kind of love all different types of figs. But out of all of the fig fragrances I have, I think this is truly the most just kind of fruity, jammy, juicy, fun. It kind of screams like a fall fruit to me. And I just think this would be such a cute one to wear on the turkey day. All right, next up we have Tarte Deco by Sniff. Now this is one that I have notoriously said I like it, but I always wanted something a little bit more from it. I used to only smell like a cherry pie filling. Open up the can of that cherry pie kind of gooiness, and that's all I smelled in this. I don't know if it's developed over time or if my nose has just gotten stronger because I've had this one for quite a while. I do pick up a little bit more in this now. I actually pick out a lot more of the floral that's in here. This has mimosa and rose in the mid. At the top is the black cherry and the raspberry. In the base, you have some vanilla. And I can kind of smell those different tiers now, whereas it used to just be like a linear, it smells like a cherry pie filling, whatever. So I kind of like it a little bit more now. I do think it's less on the nose as a Thanksgiving fragrance than I used to think. Like, it's a cherry pie. Now it has just that lightness of that floral going on. So it's kind of like right on the edge, but I do still think ultimately kind of from far away, you're gonna smell that sort of cherry pie essence. So this one's changing on me a little and I like it. But that is Tarte Deco by Sniff. All right, now this was my Thanksgiving fragrance in the past. This is Techno by Zernel Gilly. This was my first Zernel Gilly fragrance. And this is electric. It's the best word I can describe this fragrance. I also think energetic would be in any of those E words that have like a pulse to it, describes this very well. And if it was a music genre, it would be techno. So he really named this correctly. But I've always felt like this is just a fragrance with a lot of pizzazz and liveliness to it. It has this really strong punch of red berries at the top. And this is a pretty like layer. There's a lot going on in this fragrance. You also have some saffron. You have some leather and suede. You have some amber that I think really kind of amps up the warmth in this fragrance. And a little bit of incense is kind of in the background, but to me, this has always just kind of smelled like this lively whip of a red berry, like leather whip of a fragrance. And I just think it's really like fun and kind of festive. And wearing this, if you have like a real lively family, you know, like everyone's in the crowd and everyone's being loud and it's fun and maybe music is playing, is the kind of Thanksgiving fragrance this gives me. So that's Techno by Zernel Gilly. All right, next up we have Captured by Candlelight by 4160 Tuesdays. This is such a unique fragrance. Another one that I really don't have anything else quite like it in my collection. This is a toffee fragrance, but you also have some cognac and some beeswax. You also have a little bit of oak and a little bit of cinnamon. And this one kind of encapsulates the essence of like sweetness with that candlelight setting. I kind of picture being more of like a toned down Thanksgiving. Maybe it's a small little gathering. Maybe it's even like a Friendsgiving with a couple of people, or maybe it's just like, you and your man or something, and it's kind of after all the festivities and you want that after dinner drink that's a little bit sweet. It's where the toffee comes to play with the cognac in here, and you're sitting kind of around the candlelight in like a nice suede chair. That's the vibes that this fragrance gives me. I remember reading a review of this before I purchased it. Someone said it smells like Gryffindor Hogwarts, like what that common area of the Gryffindor common area would look like at Hogwarts, what it would smell like. And I can totally see what they're talking about. It's kind of one of those that you'd have to smell to understand, but I think it's such a unique and fun, cool fragrance. All right, this next one is kind of this brand is very avant-garde, but I think this is a pretty wearable fragrance by them. It's Etat Libre de Orange, and this is Story of Your Life. This is so unique, you guys. So it opens with this really green Davana note at the top that might come across a little bit bitter and strange to some people's nose. I usually like Davana in a fragrance, but it is pretty green smelling, and it has benzoin too, so it kind of like plays with this sort of crisp green with this like rounded out balsamic note. And then it has a bread note in the mid with some rum, also some vanilla, amber, woodiness, some cacao. And ultimately to me, what this smells like is there's a hint of bread, like some kind of like, not maybe like a French bread or like a white bread baking in the oven, not a sourdough bread, not a sweet bread, like a very just white, crisp bread baking in the oven, very much in the background. Maybe there's a window open and there's a little bit of like a woody, crisp greenness to the woodiness in the air that's breezing through, and you have that little swirling cognac in your hand. It's also not overly boozy. Everything's pretty well balanced in this fragrance, but it's very dry and it's just very unique. It's one of those I think people would want to know what you're wearing, want to know about it, and when they would hear the notes, it would probably sound, especially if people aren't fragrance people, they would be like, there's a bread note and there's rum, but then there's this green Davana and like a balsamic, and it's very strange but wearable. Not all of their fragrances are as wearable, I don't think, as this one, but I quite like it. I think I just love that it has that dry warmth to it, like what a freshly baked bread would have, the crispness of the dryness, but it's like warm inside. That's kind of how this feels to me, and it kind of feels a little bit like a hug too. All right, this is another peach fragrance, and when I was going through my collection, I kept being drawn to peach and cherry, even though I have apple fragrances, and I've already talked about a couple that have apple in them, but I thought, why am I being so drawn to peach for fall and for Thanksgiving? And not all of my peach fragrances I don't think would fit for Thanksgiving, but I think this one does. This is Queen of Sheba by Etat Collection. And I think it's because of the tobacco and the incense that's in here with the peach. But then it also has tuberose, which a lot of times I think of more as a summer floral. And it has some white musk and some amber. And I just think it's a beautifully done peach. I've been waiting for the fall to really wear this, because when I would try to kind of spray it on in the spring and the summer, it just felt a little too heavy. It was beautiful, but it was just too heavy. And I thought, this is a fall fragrance. This is cozy, but it's kind of sweet. I think it's a really fun one too, that when you hug people, they're gonna be like, you smell so good. You know, like, it kind of gives me that feeling. It's just like, I wanna kind of curl up and go, I smell so good. So it's not on the nose Thanksgiving, but just, I think because of that tobacco and incense, it just kind of puts it in that category for me. So that is the Queen of Sheba by Etat Collection. All right, next up is Rourke's Cove by Fulton and Rourke. And this, you don't see this too often, I don't think. A woody pear fragrance. A lot of times, pear floral, pear in like champagne, but this is a very definitely woody fragrance. There's a lot of woodiness in the base of this, but the pear at the top with a little bit of cloudberry and pink pepper give it this really unique fruitiness that you can't even quite put your finger on what fruit it is. I remember when I first sprayed this, I thought of apple picking and I thought it was apple. I was like, oh, this isn't a woody apple fragrance, but no, it's actually pear. And there's a little bit of this green crispness at the top. There's a tiny little accent of some bergamot in here that kind of plays with that. And it's really, really beautiful. So I just think it would be a fun one to wear because I think a lot of times in the fall and Thanksgiving, we're thinking like woody, but you don't really usually think of pear woody. And I think that that's really cool. So I think it'd be a good time to bust it out. That is Rorke's Cove. All right, next is Stronger With You Perfume by Armani. Now, you guys, these get so confusing because there are so many flankers of Stronger With You. Like I get so confused. All I really know is the Stronger With You Perfume is really, really, really lovely. Yes, it is marketed towards men. I think it would smell amazing on my husband. It's not necessarily like completely his style of fragrance, but I love this one on myself. I think it is so beautiful. This has, again, starting out with some pink pepper. I think that's common in a lot of these like fall fragrances. You got that pink pepper, you got a little touch of citrus, you have some aromatics in the mid with some lavender and sage, but then comes in this beautiful chestnut and leather and a touch of vanilla. It's not too sweet. It really just smells like a delicious men's fragrance, but there's something, maybe it's like how smooth it is and it's not too spicy, where I think I pull it off as well. So I'm kind of glad it's not really my husband's thing. I cannot get this cap. There we go. He hasn't really smelled it. So maybe he would smell it and think that is my thing, but for now I'm keeping it for me. And this would be, I mean, if you are a man, like dressing up in your nice attire on Thanksgiving, this is like a dressed up, like, oh, if you want to smell kind of sexy on your Thanksgiving, that can be a thing. This would be a good one. All right, this is a newer one in my collection. This is Essential Parfums Divine Vanille. And it's just a really beautiful kind of smoky, mysterious vanilla fragrance. It's very, very smooth, even though it does have I think maybe there's a little bit of incense. I know there's some black pepper in here and sage, but that part's pretty toned down. And I just get a lot of that Madagascar vanilla and that Texas cedar and the musk and the amber. Like I love that sort of a scent base. And it's kind of cozy, it's refined, it's an easy wear to me. It's kind of one of those, if you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to go fruity or incensey or if I want to go really woody. This is just one that I think you could just grab and be like, well, I know this is going to smell good. It's kind of one of those, and it's also not a boring vanilla. It doesn't smell like everything else out there, but it's still just such an easy grab. So if I'm in a pickle on Thanksgiving and I'm like, I can't decide, I may just go with Divine Vanille. All right, next up we have one of my most beautiful bottles and expensive bottles in my collection. This is Tiziana Terenzi's Tuttle. I did get it for a really good price on Jomashop though. So like I always say, even if it's something that's real expensive, get the best price. So when you hear the top and mid notes of this, you would think spring, summer. So at the top you have grapefruit, some black currant, peach once again. In the mid you have a lot of white florals like magnolia, lily of the valley, there's jasmine, tuberose, there's a little bit of iris, not white floral, but iris. It kind of just lightens things up a little bit, but it's really the base of this. It's just so woody. And it has like, I think argan wood, maybe vetiver, sandalwood. There's just a lot of woods going on in the base. So I remember when I got this in, I thought it was going to be a little bit more of this light spring summer fragrance. But when I sprayed it, I thought this is gorgeous. But this is like this woody peach. I really get a lot of the peach. Not a ton of the grapefruit, but it's like this gorgeous woody peach black currant, kind of a mixture is what I get. I don't get a ton of the florals in here. I think the florals just kind of keep it lighter. It's not like super, 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 super heavy. It's such a beautifully balanced fragrance. It's very elegant and classy. This is another, I'd say, pretty unisex fragrance as well, but I think it's like another one of those like nice, elegant Thanksgiving dinner type of fragrances, but it's not like too hoity-toity that you couldn't just wear your sweats and wear this too. All right, now if you want to bring out the heavy hitter, you're going to bring out Extra Dose. Born in Roma, Extra Dose. You guys, I wore this not that long ago to my son's baseball game. I think I'm so used to, a lot of times this is what my fragrance spraying looks like. I go leg out, okay, and I'm just so used to that's just what I do. I wasn't thinking how strong this fragrance is, and I was like halfway through that and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to kill myself over. And I mean, I was projecting at the baseball game. Everyone could smell me. I smelled delicious, but man, and my clothes, I mean, I didn't get them dirty, so I hung them back up. They smelled like it for weeks. So this is a strong black currant, vanilla rum, I believe, fragrance. And it is such a powerhouse. I love it. It's one of my favorite designer fragrances. I think it's so good. And it's just, like I said, one of those that if you just want the whole room to smell you and be like, well, we know the fragrance person in the room, you're gonna wear Extra Dose by Valentino. All right, we have a Kayali. We have Love Fest Burning Cherry. Couple of notes are on the back here. Burning cherry, raspberry, praline, palo santo, gaiac wood, and patchouli. Now, this is not that far off of Lost Cherry, but it's just that palo santo in here. Palo santo is one of my favorite notes. It's like this cinnamony, woody sort of a note that I love. And I've always loved this fragrance because of that. It kind of smells like you've got the cherry pie just put on the table and you have like the candles burning and you can smell like the burning wick of the candle mixed with that cherry pie. That's basically what it smells like. And it's always been one of my favorite Kayalis. I really have nothing bad to say about this fragrance. Can't say that about all Kayali fragrances, but this has always been one I really, really enjoy. And it does definitely give me Thanksgiving vibes. All right, now we have another one that was my Thanksgiving fragrance a couple of years ago. And you may be like, girl, do you only wear it once? Because there's not much of a dent in this. The reason being, I'm kind of hoarding this fragrance. This is Montagne Perfume's Arabian Orient. I keep seeing, like, I've always seen that this is sold out. And I love it. And I don't know if I wear it all up that it'll be available again, which is this dumb thing that I battle with sometimes. Like, I've got so many perfumes, just wear your perfumes. So I'm telling you guys, don't do as I do as I say. Wear your perfumes, you know? But I do love this one a lot. It is a raspberry caramel, kind of spicy saffron fragrance. And it has these kind of like notes you think would take over. Like, it does have geranium. Geranium can be a really spicy floral. And a lot of times takes over a fragrance. It does have patchouli, so you'd be like, oh, is it gonna smell like patchouli? But ultimately, what really stands out is the raspberry, the caramel, and the saffron. Forget all the other notes that are in it. Those three just come together in the most kind of tart, but sweet and smooth and silky with like a touch of spice way that is so beautiful. And this brand is inspired by fragrances mainly. I think they maybe made like 2 or 3 of their own several years ago, this being one of them. And I'm like, just make your own fragrances because this is better than like all the fragrances that they're trying to dupe on their site. So anyway, I love it. And I'm just like, I don't know if it's gone forever. So currently it does say sold out, but keep your eye on it. If it comes back, I highly recommend it. And it was my Thanksgiving fragrance a couple years ago. And I was like, I smell delicious. All right, next up we have Profumo di Firenze's Niveus. I have, by the way, like fallen in love with this house. I have 4 of theirs now and I love them. But Niveus is such a beautiful, marketed towards men, I believe, fragrance. But oh my gosh, I love this one. This does have some apple. It also has a little bit of brightness. I think maybe apple, orange. Maybe there's some sort of bergamot at the top. In the mid, you have some beautiful florals. You have some peony, maybe some rose, iris, something like that. And then in the base, you have a little bit of incense and some vanilla and a little bit of woodiness and amber. And it's just a very refined, elegant, smooth, classy, kind of fruity, woody fragrance that I think you could kind of wear this one year round, to be honest. It's one of those safe, easy grabs for a man or a woman and appropriate kind of for any situation. But when I got it out to spray thinking about it for this video, I just thought, you know, that is one that if I were to go and hug someone at Thanksgiving, I would want to know what they're wearing because it's just that beautiful. So highly recommend this one. It's actually pretty cheap on places like Jomashop, like 60 something bucks. And it's this gorgeous, beautiful fragrance that I think is very underrated. So that is Niveus. All right, now my very last one, again, is not the most on the nose Thanksgiving, but I'll tell you where I was going with this. This is Javoy's Remember Me. And I almost started singing Remember Me. Okay, stop, Alicia, don't. But the reason why I'm choosing this is a stunning, cozy tea, a little bit of citrus, milky, wrap up in a blanket type of a fragrance. You have like a hint of ginger. You do have frangipani in here, which is a summery type of floral, but I mainly get that gorgeous citrus tea, milky coziness out of this. And I really do picture kind of the end dwindling of the day of Thanksgiving. Like, let's say you were the host and you've got the kitchen all cleaned up and maybe you drink tea and you want to just kind of boil it, sit down with your blanket, cuddle up with your mug and start watching like your favorite Christmas movie and just kind of let the whole day digest. That's what I'm picturing with this fragrance. It's definitely a comfort fragrance. Honestly, one that you can wear year round. This is not fall specific, but I think because it is so cozy, it could belong on the day of Thanksgiving. So if you need a little comfort this Thanksgiving, a fragrance like Javoy Remember Me would absolutely do it. But that is it, you guys. Those are my 20 Thanksgiving fragrances that are a little bit on the higher end. And I thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I wish you guys an amazing Thanksgiving, and I thank y'all so much for being here and for supporting me. I'm very, very thankful for you. And as always, have fun shopping, budget shopping, and smelling fabulous. Bye.